Hello again. Let's go back to the Git. First of all, we need to start the Docker container and get into it. So I will switch to the CLI and we can actually see what can happen. Okay, so we are now in the CLI and we need to type some commands. In the beginning, I presented you the command sudo docker run, right? And -it means interactive access to the container, right? Name of the container, course1, and operating system Ubuntu latest, right? Let's see, error response from the daemon config. The container name course is already in use. So if I will use the sudo docker, yes, you can see the container is not running, but we have this container already created. So we can remove it, we can rename it, or we can run it. So what I did previously, I just hit Ctrl-D, or you can type exit instead, and after that this command exits the currently running Docker container, and it's stopping it. It's killing this container. It's not removing it, but it's killing it. So the same command to stop the container, I mean to achieve the same effect, is a sudo docker stop course1. This command is stopping the running container, right? In this case, course1. And we want to start this container. Start course1 container, and sudo docker yes should show us that the container is running, right? It shows there is an information when it was created and the status, I mean when the container started. So how to get into this container? Actually really easy. So you need to just type sudo docker attach course1, and now you're inside the currently running Docker container. So we are currently in, so let's create a new repository using the following commands. First of all, make directory b course1 cd course1. I'm using the bash completion ls LA, so you can see who is the owner. And now we need to initialize the repository inside this directory. So Git Init will do this, and it shows the information that there is an initialized empty Git repository in this course directory, right? So this directory is empty, and let's say that we want to have a file inside of it and make a commit. Okay, so for example, echo my name is a new repo, for example, something like that. Or you can usually in the readme file .md means it's a markdown language. Usually in the readme file we are putting the information about the repository, what's inside it, about the project or something like that. Okay, so the readme.md is created. Now we want to add it to the repository, so git add readme.md, that, And I mean, git add readme.md is adding this file to the index of the git. And now we want to make a commit. We created a file. Let's say, I mean, we made a change because we, if I will cut the readme, you can see there is a text inside. My name is a new repo. So we want to make a commit. Git commit -m means message. Message means in the information what has been done, and adding readme.md to this repository. Okay, and now what happened? There is an information. The author identity is unknown. Please tell me who you are. And Git exactly tells you what you have to do. So Git is not configured, right? So first of all, we will use this command git config and global user email, let's say admin at info.pl, right? And the same but username, let's say, and your name will be something like that, Adrian, right? Done. And now we can try to commit this file, and yes, it has been done. Adding readme.md, one file changed, there is a commit, and you can check if it done correctly and does the commit exist in this repository. Typing this command git log -n1, and you can see this hash file, the author, and the email address, of course, and the date, and the commit, and the comment here, right? This is the message that we added the readme file. Excellent. Okay, but what about the Git configuration, where the name and this email address are saved? The answer is a file in current logged in user home directory. I mean, I'm logged as a user, and the current user is root. So if I will check here that just like that .git config .config, you can see that in this file .git config there is the data, the email address, and the name of the user. So the configuration of the Git is exactly stored in a file that is similar to many Linux configuration files, and it reminds me the text initialization files in Windows and something like that, but mostly I'm familiar with configuration files in Linux, so it looks almost the same or exactly the same like many configuration files in Linux. And the git config command is a high-level way of editing this git config file, and this can be proven quite simply. So let's take a look at our user's name, Adrian, right? I can show you that the value can be displayed using the following command: git config -global and get user.name, and you can see that my name is displayed on the screen. So because I forgot to add my surname, I can fix it very quickly using the sed command. So sed e s Adrian 5 Rosiak right, 5G and -I and .git config. If I will use this command once again, you can see there is a name and the surname. And of course, if I will cut the git config, you can see exactly that the data is saved there. And the git config file is always in the user's home directory, right? And is it easier to use command git config or a text editor like, I don't know, vim, nano, gedit, or many others? The answer is it depends. There is actually no one answer. And mostly I use the vim editor. For me, it's easier, and because I usually store the git config file in my home user directory inside the repository, right? But there is a one group of tasks where using git config is much easier, and I'm referring to automation scripts using in the environments others than our own operating systems, and it's definitely easier to use git config than, for example, if I want to make some script that is automating some processes, and this configuration file tells exactly Git what to do, it's much easier than using each time the sed command as I presented previously, or the awk command. It's very similar to sed, to replace the data inside this git config file or inside any other file. So it's very convenient to use this git config command inside the automation script. Before we move on towards the end of this current lesson, it is worth specifying why Git requires from us to enter the username and user email, because I already presented that in the beginning. When I tried to perform a command to make a commit, Git presented the information, displayed the information that it is not possible because the Git is not configured and the username and email address is not configured properly. So if you will go inside the repository, in this case we are inside the course1 repository, and if you will perform a command git cat file and commit head, you will see this. This is the hash, or it's a SHA, something like that. It's a hash made by Git, and this unique value is calculated based, among other things, on who is the author and committer of the change. Git needs to know this, because without this it wouldn't be able to calculate this value, and it is worth bearing this in mind. It is worth to know that. And this concludes our lessons on what the Git configuration actually is, and the answer is easy. It's a text file. It's a git config text file inside the repository. Okay, so let's switch to the next lesson, when we will find out how to configure the Git, and I will explain and tell more about the Git configuration levels and how we can influence on the Git actually, and how it can be much easier for us to use these configuration levels, and what goals we can achieve, and how Git will behave. Okay, so thank you very much. and let's go to the next lesson.